Have you ever imagined this? On a rainy night, instead of being safe in a warm house or tucked under a fluffy blanket, you're sitting in the middle of a forest with nothing but a thin tent, a flickering lantern, and the steady drumming of raindrops on nylon? Sounds a little crazy, right? Most people would say, rain means stay home, not camping, but that's exactly what makes it such a one-of-a-kind experience, the one I'm about to share with you. That evening, the sky was already turning gray, and I knew this trip was going to be unusual. But instead of panicking or heading back, I felt strangely excited. It was like nature was challenging me. Hey, let's see if you can face the rain, the darkness, and maybe even your own fears. And I thought, why not? Bring it on. As the first drops began to fall, the entire forest seemed to transform. During the day, it was alive with birdsong and rustling leaves. But now, it offered me a different kind of symphony. Raindrops tapping on leaves, the wind whistling through the trees, and the occasional chirp of insects cutting through the night. Oddly enough, I didn't feel lonely. Instead, I felt like I was being embraced by nature itself. Peeking outside, all I could see was thick, velvety darkness, interrupted only by a flash of lightning in the distance. But instead of fear, I felt curiosity. What would tonight bring? A little midnight adventure in the shadows, or maybe just a cozy night of sipping coffee while listening to the rain? I didn't know. But one thing was certain. This was going to be a night I'd never forget. When you're inside a small tent under the rain, all your senses go into overdrive. The raindrops drumming above you sound soft and soothing, yet also intense and rhythmic, like a live percussion concert just for you. Every now and then, a sneaky drop finds its way through a seam, splashing ice cold on my wrist, startling, but also kind of funny. The air smelled earthy and damp, with hints of wood smoke lingering from my campfire earlier that evening. If you've never inhaled this blend of rain-soaked soil and fading campfire, you're missing out. It's a fragrance of nostalgia, childhood memories of running through summer storms, or sitting around a fire with friends. Inside the tent, I switched on my lantern. The warm yellow glow spilled across the fabric, casting dancing shadows that swayed with every gust of wind. For a moment, I thought, well, this is basically a 5-star hotel room, except the roof is nylon, and the complimentary soundtrack is Rainfall Extended Version. Sitting alone, I felt both peaceful and amused. Peaceful because there were no car horns, no buzzing phones, no endless notifications, just me and the rain. Amused because every now and then, I'd imagine, what if something knocks on the tent? A wolf, a bear, or maybe just a stray cat? The thought was ridiculous, but that's what made it entertaining. And in that moment, I realized, solitude isn't always scary. Sometimes, it's a gift. In the city, we're constantly surrounded by people and noise. But here, in the rain-soaked night, I could finally hear myself, clearer than ever. As the night deepened, the rain grew heavier. The sound wasn't just raindrops anymore. It became a wall of water, a thick curtain of sound. I pulled my sleeping bag tighter, leaving only my nose poking out. Safe and warm inside, I suddenly felt so small. Small compared to the vast sky, to the wild forest, to everything beyond my control. And that's when the thoughts began. Lying there, my mind wandered everywhere. To unfinished projects, to dreams I had set aside, to promises I hadn't kept. Life in the city keeps us running, chasing schedules, too busy to pause. But here the rain forced me to slow down, to listen, to my breath, to my heartbeat, to all those quiet little thoughts I'd ignored for too long. I chuckled to myself. Who goes camping in the rain just to get all philosophical? But maybe that's exactly what solitude does. It strips away the noise until you're left with nothing but honesty. I remembered a saying, when you're alone, that's when you truly have a conversation with yourself. And there I was, under a flimsy tent, rain as the soundtrack, having the longest talk with me. Every now and then, a strong gust of wind rattled the tent. My heart skipped a beat. For a second, I thought, what if the tent blows away? The thought was ridiculous, but also thrilling. Fear, I realized, wasn't the enemy. It was just a spice, adding flavor to the night. And then gratitude washed over me. Grateful to have this moment. Grateful for the quiet, for the chance to disconnect, for the privilege of listening to rain instead of car horns. Out there, millions of people were rushing through their busy lives while here I was, cozy, present, rich in the kind of wealth money can't buy. The night eventually passed. Somewhere in the rhythm of the rain, I had drifted off to sleep. When I opened my eyes, a faint glow seeped through the tent walls. I unzipped the flap and, wow, the forest had transformed. After the storm, everything sparkled. Leaves glistened with raindrops, the air was cool and crisp, and the earthy scent had mellowed into something fresh and clean. There's something magical about a morning after rain. It feels like the world has been washed and reset. I took a deep breath, and it felt like my lungs were filling with pure energy. And in that moment, I realized, if I had given up yesterday because of the rain, I would have missed this breathtaking scene. So, if you've listened this far, maybe ask yourself, when was the last time I gave myself an adventure like this? Who knows? Maybe all it takes is a car, a tent, and a sudden rainstorm. And you might just find a new version of yourself, braver, freer, and happier than ever. I started a small fire and brewed a cup of instant coffee. The steam curled up into the misty air, blending with the morning fog. It was so beautiful it felt like I was sitting inside a painting. I took a sip and laughed. Sure, it's just 3-in-1 instant coffee, but with this view, it tastes like 100 out of 10. That morning, I realized this trip wasn't just about camping, it was a lesson. A lesson that sometimes you have to step out of your comfort zone, face the things you fear, to discover the treasures waiting on the other side. And my treasure today was simple yet priceless. Happiness, born from rain, fire, coffee, and a quiet forest. As I packed up, I looked at my soggy little tent and smiled. Thanks, buddy. You held up all night. And I knew this wasn't the last time. There would be more storms, more nights, more adventures waiting for me down the road.